Hey guys, it's Simon here. Welcome back to another video. It's Friday, we've got some pickups. Let's take a look. Okay, first up is a little bit of a nostalgic title for me. It's nothing too special. Actually, it's a boring sports game, but I've grabbed a copy of Actua Soccer 2. So, why did I pick up this title? Well, as mentioned, I've got a little bit of nostalgia with this game. Back when I received my first PlayStation 1, Actua Soccer 2 was one of the playable demos on the Demo 1 disc that came packaged in with your PS1. And at the time I had a school friend called Trent, and Trent was a really good kid. He was one of those kids that kind of excelled in anything he did. He was really good at schoolwork, any type of sport he played, but he had a really big passion for playing soccer/football, whatever you want to call it. And he had a Sega Mega Drive and he had a stack of soccer games which he loved playing. So when I found out that my Demo 1 CD had a soccer game on it, I mentioned to him and said, hey, did you want to come over and maybe give the game a go? Personally, I didn't really care too much for the title. I was more into playing like Die Hard Trilogy and the Wipeout and all the other cool demos on the disc. But Trent came over and immediately fell in love with it, and then pretty much most afternoons after school he would come over and play the demo over and over, and I didn't mind that because it was kind of cool just sitting there watching him play, because I did try to play it and I wasn't any good, but he was insane at it. He was really good, and I just enjoyed kind of sitting there and watching him play. So I figured, well, why not? For a few bucks, I may as well pick up a copy of Actua Soccer 2. It was one of the games on my original Demo 1 CD, and you know, a little bit of nostalgic value for me. Next up is a group of titles that I consider to be the kings of arcade games, or just in my opinion anyway. It is the Metal Slug Anthology Collection for the PlayStation 2. And I have had the biggest crush on the Metal Slug series ever since I saw the original installment way back in 1996 on SNK arcade cabinet. And back then, we would go to my local indoor sports center, and inside the food court there was always a Street Fighter cabinet, a Mortal Kombat cabinet, and the SNK cabinet that would always have the original Metal Slug playing on it. And my dad would never let me play it, but I would just stand there for ages and ages just watching the rolling demo just repeat over and over. I just loved the look of the gameplay, the sound effects, and just the art style. I just freaking loved it. Now, I do own the loose copies of Metal Slug 3, 4 and 5 on the PS2, but I've never been able to find the original Metal Slug number 2, X, and number 6. So to have the anthology with those games included on it is pretty sweet, and I'm going to be playing the hell out of this title. Cannot freaking wait. Now we have a copy of Bloodborne Game of the Year edition, and I loved Bloodborne when it first released back in March 2015. It was the first Souls type game that I'd ever played, and I was a little bit anxious about going into it for the first time because I had heard how difficult previous FromSoft games were. But one of the main things that got me hooked on Bloodborne was the atmosphere of the game. And for those of you that have played it, there is one moment right at the start of the game that really sticks in my mind, and it was when you're first scaling the massive ladder that leads up to Yharnam, and I probably got about halfway. And I kind of just stopped and panned the camera around just to have a look and just check out the layout. You could see the cathedral in the background. The scenery looked awesome, but really dark and foreboding. And then off in the distance, you heard the wails of the cleric beast just screeching out, and I was thinking, ooh, what am I getting myself into? But it was such a creepy atmosphere, and it got me completely hooked on the game. But Bloodborne Game of the Year edition contains the base game and the DLC, which is called the Old Hunters. Now, I've never played the DLC, but from what I have seen from YouTube clips, it looks brutal. So looking forward to brushing off my old Bloodborne skills, giving that a go and seeing how I fare, but should be fun. This next item is kind of silly, considering that I've based my entire collection on PlayStation and that I've never picked up one of these until now. It's just an official PlayStation 2 stand. Now, I've I haven't avoided picking these up, but I guess I've just put it off because they're so popular. I mean, they're everywhere. They're really, really cheap. And because of that, I've just put it off. I'm like, I'll get it next time. I'll get it next time. And because of that, that's why I've never picked one up. I've always just opted to purchase other things instead of one of these. But I was visiting a local secondhand store recently, and in the bottom of their glass case, they had an official PS2 stand. Now, this one's not boxed or anything, it's just loose. It's got some scratches on the side there, but it doesn't bother me too much because I was well and truly overdue to pick one of these up. And last up, I've grabbed a copy of Reloaded, which is pretty cool because a couple of pickup episodes back, I actually found the original title, Loaded. But I stumbled across this title on a trip out of town. I decided to visit a local secondhand store that I hadn't been to in years, and this is because their pricing store-wide was horrendous. Everything was so heavily overpriced, it was insane. But I went in there and to my luck, found a copy of Reloaded. Now, it was in one of their display cases. There were a few other Platinum games scattered around, but I wasn't really interested in. But I found this one. It was for a really, really good price, so I've picked it up. I haven't actually played this title yet. I have played through and finished the original Loaded, and I really, really enjoyed that experience. And from what I've seen online from short video clips, Reloaded looks to be very much the same, which is good because, as mentioned, I really enjoyed playing through the original. Well, that's it for today's video. Let me know in the comments section below, what have you guys picked up recently and what have you been playing? Myself, I've just finished Days Gone. I really enjoyed my time with that game. I don't really understand all of the negative review scores that that game has been receiving. Now, it did have some bugs, but none of them that I experienced were particularly game breaking. They were more just on the graphical side of things. My personal opinion, a game shouldn't release with bugs at all, especially a AAA first-party game from Sony, but I still really enjoyed the core gameplay experience that Days Gone had to offer. I'm certainly going to be returning to it and trying to get the Platinum Trophy. Anyway guys, thank you all very much for watching. Remember, keep that positivity flowing, and I'll see you next time with more PlayStation content.